this evening or today, happy Independence Day. Now we have quite a bit more coming up. I'd like to thank everybody for joining me. Welcome to Black Spring on your Independence Day or evening, wherever you're joining me from. I'd like to thank everybody for joining me on this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. And this is a bit of an impromptu or a sporadic stream, but nonetheless, I had just a couple of things on this auspicious day, which is Independence Day or July 4th, as we've all grown to know. And the first part of this segment, it's going to be a mini segment, and it's going to be, we're going to talk just a little bit about the Mount Rushmore speech and have just a little bit of commentary on that. And also we'll take a couple of clips from that speech. Also, we'll get into a little bit of the specifics, a few points that were made on the actual speech, which is very telling. Also, we'll talk a little bit about the origins of some of the things that were mentioned in the speech and Kanye's run. Once again, I'd like to thank everybody for joining me on this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. If you are just now joining me from wherever you are, if you could do the channel a favor and hit the like button or the unlike button, and that is for Channelytics, and it helps to support the channel. So thank you guys so much for joining me. So, but I will take the time to thank the loyal patrons and you, the subscribers. And as always, if you are looking for other, sorry about that. If you are looking for other live streams or content creators, videos, please check out our loyal patrons, Derek C. Williams, Killer Whale Channels, The Angel Munez Variety Show, Definition of Anarchy, Sandy K, Chrysler Imperial H, Little Miss Goth, and our newest patron, Gary L. Youngkeast Jr. Thank you guys so much for all that you do and for investing your time here on Black Spring with Autumn. Shout out to you, Crazy Chick Sheena. Shout out to Banging Gears. It's been a lifetime, Banging Gears. Nice to see you. Hope you're doing well. Hope everybody's having a great holiday, a great July 4th, a great Independence Day. And I do, honestly, if there were, I don't know who makes the rules, but of course these days it seems like the liberals are the ones that scream the loudest, or the one who yells they're offensive first wins. They're offended first, they win. So I submit that we call this day, officially call it Independence Day, because July 4th is very, to me, is much more it's very non-specific, and it doesn't really assign the actual significance to the date, because you think about it. I mean, we have a lot of kids, a lot of millennials, however you want to paint them or shade them, as they're misguided and they're misinformed. And we'll get into that in this segment. So yes, to Crazy Chick Sheena, I think that Trump covered many things. I think he's much more astute than I think people give him credit for. And we'll find out as time, as this unfolds, because there's nonstop development going on all the time. And I do think it was, I think he's given a lot of great speeches, but I definitely think that one, I think that was a powerful speech for sure. It was a solid speech. I will tell you this. I think also for anybody, for the critics or for the naysayers, I think that Trump's oration ability is on the rise. I'll say the first speech that one of the speeches that I think stood out, one of the most poignant speeches that stood out to me was the last State of the Union address, the one in which the lovely, the vile Pelosi ripped up in front of the country and the world. I think that was a phenomenal speech. And of course, I'm not even sure how many of the mainstream, of course, picked that up, how many carried it, but I'm sure they picked up. No. The last State of the Union address, the one that was earlier, was it back in January 2020, is the speech that I'm referring to. I think that was another great speech. I'm just saying those are speeches that stand out to me. In which there was this speech I'm referring to, he actually brought, he actually issued medals. I think Rush Limbaugh received a medal. There was a child there that wanted, that desired to go to a better school. She received a scholarship or some type of, fellowship that enabled her to do that. And of course, what did the media do? And you guys will have to excuse, okay, you have people doing fireworks. I'm not sure where they are, but I'm also looking for my vigilant ear is also looking for, I'm looking for two different sounds, the firework sound and then the other one. If you know what I'm talking about, I won't say any more. I'm listening for two sounds. I'm listening for a wet and a dry. Shout out to everybody that's in the stream. Thank you guys so much for coming out and banging gears. Nice to see you. Okay, so let's get into that speech just a bit. So, of course, the speech that I'm referring to right now is the speech that occurred at Mount Rushmore. So I'm going to go to that speech. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope you've had a chance to enjoy either peace or whether you've had a chance to enjoy a fellowship on some level with your friends or your family. But we've had a chance to do that today and not be discouraged or deterred by all the negative and the agitation that's going on. I think a lot of people have pushed past a lot of that. I think that it's actually more encouraging to see. I mean, I've seen more flags today. For example, in my own neighborhood, I've seen probably like 8 flags. Which more would be better because the neighborhood, there's tons of houses in the area, but just peripherally, I thought that was not bad. And even some of the restaurants were flying like huge, I guess, full staff flags today. So, I don't know if I don't think everything's lost. Everything's not lost. So I'm just going to keep going with that. Once again, I'd like to thank everybody for joining me on this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. So I'm going to take you to a specific clip on this segment. I will also, if I had a hat, I will tip my hat to Governor Kristi Noem. I think she's very optimistic, and I think that she's probably going to be, that speech, amongst other things, her state is probably going to attract a lot of people. And I'm not saying, we know a lot of states are attractive right now. We're just hoping that other faction, what they're running from, they don't bring it to that state. Because I think she's touted their record. I've been to the state of South Dakota many times. Never been to Mount Rushmore, unfortunately, but I think the low taxes, their economy, I also think that there's quite a few jobs in that state. I think they've got a couple of industries that are pretty. They've had a couple of growing industries over the last, I think, probably 5 to 7 years, somewhere in that range. The Dakotas, I wouldn't even count out even North Dakota. Some of these, lesser known states, there's definitely some attraction there. They're not tainted, or they're not, they're a little bit, they're, can I say they're politically pristine, or they're unpolitically pristine to an extent. They haven't been tainted or
away from what they are doing. They think the American people are weak and soft and submissive. But no, the American people are strong and proud, and they will not allow our country and all of its values, history, and culture to be taken from them.
Once again, I'd like to thank everybody for joining me on this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. Whoa. Chris, Crazy Chick Sheena, you said I was kicked out of a chat because I don't agree with fake news narrative. Wow, I'm sorry to hear that. Happy Independence Day, DJ Vision Barnett. Thank you so much. So what I was going to, yikes. Hey, you know what? Their loss, Crazy Chick Sheena. Some people are willful, they want to be in the dark. They let them stack their chips and take the chances. So that particular clip that I just played, again, it came from the speech at Mount Rushmore. And there's some very specific things that I want to get into on this speech. And it's the main thing that he talks about here is he talks about the indoctrination. Because I'm going to tell you that for this country to have the amount of, I guess some people might call it sheepish, the sheepism, for us to have the mass demoralization and the status in which we're in. This is not something that started within the last 3 years. It's not something that began 10 years ago. It's not something that began 20 years ago, 30 years ago, or even 40 years ago. We can at least go back to the 60s, in which many of these departments many of these studies, these liberation theories, and all these sociological and psychology departments were really taking shape and taking aim at the values of this country at the same time. And I've talked about this before, the Frankfurt schools, in which these were immigrants from Germany, who basically they had the funding they had established a school, the Frankfurt School there, but they were able to come to the U.S. under the auspices of either a fellowship. They were able to come under the umbrella of education, or yes, that's how they were able to come here. But they ended up taking over these psychology and sociology departments. It took over in the Midwest, and then they also came to California. I've talked about these men specifically. Right now, I'm thinking Adorno and Horkheimer. These people took over the schools and implemented their nihilist views of Marxism, their nihilist view, and then they implemented Marxism. So you have, that's where you had the establishment of your women's studies, your African American studies, your Chicano studies, your, I mean, there's tons. There's, of course, there's LGBTQ studies. They basically planted their own flag here in the U.S. and established the ideologies, because these people were basically miserable. They were basically miserable. So Trump talked about that specifically and I'm going to be honest, I'm not going to tell you that I think it's a huge, because that movement is so long established, and there's been so many generations that have been indoctrinated at this point. I'm not sure how that can be reversed. It would have to be you'd have to have a few generations, to 2 or 3 generations before that could be modified. I just, it's a think reform is what it is. And now you have these college campuses, you get all these kids coming home telling their parents that they can be systemically racist. They can have a friend or two that's Black, but still they're inherently racist. You've got these kids going home telling their parents that they're racist and that they know more than them about racism. I mean, it's pretty incredible, but it's not. But I have a cousin, I have family members, and they parrot the same thing. Same stuff. Or it's either the whole victimhood mentality, or it's either it's some kid telling their parent that they are inherently racist. Now, as an adjunct professor myself, I've seen kids be fully immersed in these social justice projects. They'd rather do the social, of course, it's like these teachers, these professors act out on these kids as if they're gods or some type of master of the universe. And I'm pretty sure that if they don't parrot exactly what that professor, that point of view in their writings or in their examples of class work, then they're going to be graded. They're going to be marked down and they're going to be shouted down. I mean, it's unfortunately, that seems to be a liberal trend. In fact, I had a music professor that was very combative, and I wasn't aware that she was that combative until she was trying to put me in my place when it came to an opportunity that I was interested in. And she did it in front of the entire class. That's how I know. That's how the fact that I was able to reflect on that, I knew how serious it was, and how real this whole indoctrination thing is, and how real it is when you have groups that want to be handled with a special glove all the time. Yes, the kiss if I'm Robbie. Yes. And yeah, so let me keep going here. So we're talking about specifically about the whole effect that the liberalism has had on the education system. And I'm telling you, I'm going to be honest, it's not going to be just one man. One man cannot make all of this, cannot turn this all. It can't be done by one person. I know Trump has talked about the swamp, but you got the swamp and you've got all these other institutions that are steeped into liberal ideologies. They're very much steeped into it. Yeah, because if you go just in the eyes of in the sake of in this for the sake of education, you've also got these teachers unions. You've got the NEA, which I think was established by President Carter. Of course, when it comes to school choice, you're going to catch resistance from the left, because you're going to take away from the NEA. If you're going to push that industry out. You're going to push that industry out when you give school choice. And I remember Elizabeth Warren showing up in Atlanta, and the people were challenging her on school choice. And once they got riled up, of course they had to call. This is what I absolutely detest. I detest them putting a Black person out there to calm down a crowd. It's almost like, okay, you got to please call one of your kind out here. So guess who they called? They called Ayanna Pressley. Of course, she's a part of the squad. So they called Ayanna Pressley out to the crowd to calm down Elizabeth Warren's crowd. Okay, Elizabeth Warren can't handle her own crowd, so she needs to call the Black handler female to come over and calm down a crowd that she needs to address. Okay, and so the thing about that was, she starts going into how many people fought for this woman, goes into this whole feminism spiel about how many women had fought for her to have an opportunity to stand up there and speak, and then she's shouting and yelling and shouting down at the crowd. That's not crowd control. And why would you allow yourself to be used to calm the crowd down? Are you running for president? You're a squad member. You're a squad member. So eventually it worked, but then we've seen this before. We've got this huge inverted paradigm where we're calling on women we got to find the strongest figure to come out and calm this crowd of Black people down. And here comes Ayanna running right to the rescue. Like, is that what they're going to do every time? Every time a white person in the Democrat Party gets up and they can't handle their crowd? I mean, who are they going to call when Joe Biden can't handle his crowd? Who are they going to call? I'll wait. Because I'm pretty sure Joe Biden's not going to be able to handle his crowd, whether it's on a debate stage, you name it. Who's going to be his Black crowd whisperer? Are they going to throw Cory Booker up there to shout down at the Black people when Biden can't handle his own crowd? I'm telling you, it's Groundhog's Day with the playbook in the Democrat Party. It's always Groundhog's Day. So I'm going to move on from that just a second. But the point is that the education system is very much infiltrated. It's very much infiltrated. And then I know people want to do homeschool. They want to do all these options. But the public school is going to need a resolution. You're going to have to reform the schools, because when you go into this, when we're talking about education, you got this whole elite element. You've got the elite. The elites are training the teachers. Those teachers are teaching your kids, and those same people are writing the textbook. So do you see the depth here? They're also writing Merriam-Webster and whomever else they want to write. So they are in control, and they've been in place for a long time. And this is what I would refer to as establishment. Our education system has its own establishment. They have their own technocrats. I'm not sure what the U.S. Department of Education's jurisdiction is when it comes to education, but it's very much infiltrated, and it's very much steeped in, it's been infiltrated the elites are running the roost on that as well. I'm going to do a few shout outs. Thank you guys so much for coming in and sharing your Independence Day evening wherever you are. I mean, it's pretty late on the East Coast, but I appreciate you guys. Maybe you're up just long enough to hear or see some fireworks. I do know there was quite a few cancellations I think I'm back. You know, you never know around here. I think I'm back. Are you guys still there? I do apologize for that. I can't be sure if that is business as usual around here or if it's the technocrats. So who knows? Who knows? But thank you guys so much for tuning in on this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. I'm going to read some comments and then I'll return to more. More. So shout out to Kiss of Hammurabi, Crazy Chick Sheena, the rapper 10,000. See, the rapper says, I'm livid that some Black people online are ignorant to the lies of the MSM, Democrats, and BLM. I got called racist for sharing the facts. Well, just keep doing it. Shout out to everybody in the stream. Oh my God, old school. It's been a lifetime. How are you? It's nice to see you, old school. yeah, but yeah, so he was talking about, it says you haven't heard. I have, but don't ask me the exact context. Don't ask me. Don't ask me. It's nice to see you, old school. Are you having a great July 4th? Let's see, shout out to the Kiss of Hammurabi and DJ Vision Barnett and Banging Gears if you're still around. This late night stream. Let's do a few shout outs. I'm going to take one more opportunity to shout out the lovely patrons. Thank you guys so much for all that you do. Appreciate you guys. So with that said, let's do a little bit of a shout out and then we'll move on. I was just winding that up right before I got interrupted, by the way. So once again, oh gosh, I think they kicked out all of my things. So I'm going to just do a shout out to all of the loyal subscribers. Why is the dock open? My gosh. Okay. Oi, oi, oi. Okay. So once again, hope everybody's doing well on your holiday. And thank you so much for taking the time to come into Black Spring. So here again. Uh-oh. Okay. All right. So we're having some issues here right now. But anyway, so there again, I was talking to you guys about all the hierarchy and the whole educational, the teachers unions, the elites that are writing these textbooks, these teachers that are being trained by the elites. I mean, that's pretty much, they pretty much got it locked up, if you will. So that's where a lot of this is coming from. The public square, the school, the square, the grassy knoll in the schoolyard, that's what you got. You have activists for teachers. You've got judges as activists. You've got activism everywhere, more activists than educators. So but like I'm just saying that the elites are everywhere and they pretty much dominate. Some people actually, I'm wondering, I think they assume that everybody still look 100% to these Ivy League schools as the source of education, like your Yales, your Harvards, your Stanfords. I mean, you guys saw when the impeachment trial or the impeachment inquiries, how they had, was it four? I want to say there were 3 to 4 constitutional scholars. And I would assume that the Democrats picked their Eiffel Tower, not their Eiffel Tower, their ivory tower schools. And it was interesting when Jonathan Turley from George Washington University went against them. He said, look, I supported Obama, but what you guys are doing, what you're accusing, basically, he told them, what you're accusing Trump of is exactly what you're doing. You're the one with the abuse of power. You're the one that doesn't have enough for what you're trying to build right here. And in fact, Turley has fact-checked Obama this year on the Michael Flynn case. So that's what you got. Elites running the schools, keeping the indoctrination up. And they want even more. They want even more control over the kids. In fact, I think during the primaries, Kamala Harris said that they wanted to make the school day. She was wanting to make the school day some crazy amount of hours. I right now at the moment, I can't exactly remember. What does she want to do? A 12-hour school day? Something ridiculous. So why would you need another 4 hours? What are you doing with the 4 hours that you have? What are you doing? So I'll move on from that. But I just wanted to show there were a couple of highlights from that speech. I think there's just one more on that one, and then we'll be done pretty much, it's the indoctrination that I wanted to just slightly address that. And your sources, you have real sources of indoctrination. Trump is not conjuring this stuff out of thin air. Like I said, he's a lot more astute than I think most people think that he is. And people are watching fake news or whatnot. And then, oh my God, what was it? CNN? I think I saw CNN's Brian Stetler said that, oh, most people won't understand Trump's speech. I mean, consider the source. No, because you probably didn't play it. Your network probably didn't play it, or you cut it up, just like you do everything else. That's why most people don't want to deal with the mainstream media, because they don't print what the actual interviewee is giving them. They don't print it, and they don't repost it. So this is just another about 30 seconds on this, and we'll move on to the next one. Thank you guys so much for sharing your July 4th, your happy Independence Day.
Against every law of society and nature, our children are taught in school to hate their own country and to believe that the men and women who built it were not heroes, but that were villains. The radical view of American history is a web of lies. All perspective is removed. Every virtue is obscured. Every motive is twisted. Every fact is distorted. And every flaw is magnified until the history is purged and the record is disfigured beyond all recognition.
So yeah, so there you go. There you go. I think that pretty much wraps it up on that. So then I'll go on here. Did you guys have any protests in your area? So there's another story I want to just take a quick look at, and then we'll go on to Kanye's run. Looks like I think some of I mean, there'll be a few elites and deletes, to rally around Kanye. I don't know. I'm just beginning to think Kanye was a little bit of bait and switch. I think he knew he had a goal. He's thinking like a politician. You know what I mean? He's picked up the use of the idioms, like the gross amount of idioms that the politicians do. So I'll give him that. So let me go on to that. So we just have a bit of a short story here. Now this is coming out of the USA Today, which is a source that I don't typically, this is not a vetted source, but we're going to go with this for now. And of course we've got, let me give you this sample. Now this is going to come from, I'm not sure how old this one is, but this is Al Sharpton. And let's finish this one first. So you have people that refuse to, we refuse to celebrate July 4th. Protesters say not all Americans are free. So with that said, I'll take you to America's derelict figure with a reverend that's a handle on his name. Once again, I'd like to thank everybody for joining me on this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. Got some division for you. What would it be without some division? And I think maybe, I'm not sure where he's doing this speech, but if it's in Chicago, This
pandemic so far is by the nation being locked down. Couldn't go out. And there was no sports. Couldn't watch football, basketball, baseball. When Aubrey happened, then Breonna Taylor happened, then George Floyd happened, you couldn't watch nothing else but those tapes. And young whites start looking at it, and then older whites say, wait a minute, what is this? That's why I said to y'all 2 weeks ago, Trump running around talking about make America great again. Give me the date America was great for everybody. Wasn't never great for white women. They couldn't even vote in 1920. They didn't even let their own wives, their own mama vote. Wasn't great for blacks, wasn't great for Native Americans, wasn't great for immigrants. When was America great? Again, suggests that there was a time we were great. When was it, Mr. Trump? Mr. Lincoln, you promised. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
You have reached the 911 police emergency line.
All right. Sorry about that. Didn't mean to get the police for this segment, but thank you guys so much for joining me on this segment of Black Spring with history. Okay. Always propaganda, readily available. And also reminding you that you are that we're all just we're doomed. So I have another clip for you here. I thank everybody for joining me on this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. So we have another tweet for U.S. House Representative in Georgia, District 5, I believe it is. And I'm going to be sharing that with you. Once again, I'd like to thank everybody for joining me on this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. Let me just read a comment here. Oh, I've already read the comment there. Did you repost that one? Okay, maybe not. Sorry about that. All right, so I'm going to post this one. So I'm going to play for you. This comes from a tweet. And I will play that right now. I hope I can enlarge it so you can see it on your screen. I will blow it up to, oops, this is the wrong one. Okay, here we go. Okay, so, oops.
Black Power.
I'm going to rewind it. Sorry, the sound wasn't there.
Black Power. Black love, black love.
Okay, so Angela Stanton King poses a question here. Oops. Angela Stanton poses a question here on her Twitter account. Can I ask a question? Please, no one attack me. But if we say black power, how come they can't say white power? I'm just asking. So there you go. You've got some rendition of, I don't know. I'm not sure what this group is referring to themselves, what they're referring to themselves as, or. So it looks like quite a few people retweeted this, but I'm sure there's a lot. There's a lot more going on here than what I can see. But I'll continue to follow this one for sure. I'd like to thank my contributing source for that. Shout out to Old School Wolf Media. Shout out to everybody that's in the stream. Hopefully I am not having Rapper 10,000 and DJ Vision Barnett. Thank you guys for coming in. Also, Mr. Banging Gears, thank you so much for coming in. It's been a lifetime. And so I'm going to keep going here. Thank you guys so much. If you could please hit that like bell. And you are joining me with the if you guys aren't aware, looks like Kanye made an announcement today. Shout out to everybody in the stream. See, this stream, we're probably going to run it for another, 25 minutes-ish max. This is just a short stream. I don't mean to occupy your entire holiday weekend. So we're just going to run just a few minutes more, 25 minutes more. But I would like to bring you the tweet from, I want to call it the campaign headquarters just yet, of Kanye. So I'm wondering what, I have to follow more up on this story, but tweets have a pretty good shelf life, right? Once again, I'd like to thank everybody for joining me on this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. All right, so I'll share with you Kanye's tweet. All right, so Kanye, 3 hours ago, said we must now realize the promise of America by trusting God, unifying our vision, and building our future. I am running for president of the United States. 2020 vision. All right. So I would imagine that, he's going to there's going to be some swells and surges in his, in his profile right about now. Shout out to everybody in the stream. Thank you guys so much. If you're just now coming in, if you would hit that like button, thank you so much. This is Bangladeshi American blogger Asia. Thank you so much for coming in. Thank you for joining us on this brief Independence Day stream. Wishing everybody out there a happy Independence Day, or if you refer to it as July 4th, a happy 4th of July to you as well. Definition of Anarchy, shout out to you. All right, the Rapper 10,000 says thoughts on what to do with haters of conservatives online. The Rapper, that's a tough one. Well, you know what? I'm going to tell you, you can't control people. Is what you can't do. And if you're not, what do they call it? I've heard some. I'm not the originator of this. If you're a seed planter, if you plant seeds about conservatism, or even if you just, because the thing about it is about conservatism, I think it's getting, I don't know. I think it's gotten a little bit trendier than I would have thought, or it's taken on some ilks that I couldn't have seen them. But good night, Bangladeshi American vlogger Asia. Good night. Thank you so much for coming in. I really appreciate it. I don't, so when you say what to do with haters of conservatives online, I mean, I guess the only thing you could do is, either you can engage with them, because some of them, they're kind of curious. A lot of them are curious about what conservatism is. And I mean, you can only do so many things. You can either entertain them, or you cannot. I mean, I don't know what I don't know exactly what they're when you say what they're, are they engaging you in a hateful way, or are they, the only thing you can do with them is either you can battle with them, but usually they just become really, they don't really have anything to, they don't have facts. They don't have they're not supporting their argument. Let's just generally speaking. I don't personally, I mean, they're going to be there. They're not going away. Okay. Okay, let me read your comment here. The rapper says, even when I show them independent Black voices, they still laugh at them. I mean, that's because they're making a choice. They're making a choice. And you can't, the thing about it is the only thing you can do is at this point, I think you can show them all you want, but it's up to them. It's up to them. And then I think you have to, walk away at some point. I don't, I don't really, I mean, I've heard some people say, as I said, I'm not an originator of this thing where they say, plant seed. I think I've heard somebody like Brandon Tatum say planting seeds. I mean, it's more about truth to me. It's more about where are they? Where do they stand beyond emotion? Do they have anything to support their argument with? If they're only screaming and yelling at you, I wouldn't really. I think you can show them, and then you need to walk away. I at this point, I don't. Yeah, I wish I had something else for you, but this is the thing also with anything. Nobody wants to admit that they're being, either they've been hoodwinked or bamboozled or foobarred, or what other colloquialisms can I come up with? All you can do is show them. If they don't want to listen, then you got to keep going. I mean, keep going. I mean, I'm not sure if it's, this is nope. They just post white men bad and anti. Yeah, see, that's the. Okay, Trump. So haters versus trolls. Now, I'm not sure if I can distinguish, if I can discern the troll versus the hater that well. Are they trolls or are they haters, or I mean, whatever it is, it's just, some people are incompetent. Now I just gotta put it there. There's just some people that are just incompetent. And they refuse, and they believe in lies. A lot of people believe in lies. They do. I call it willful blindness. I mean, can you imagine if we all just did what we knew we needed to do for one day? You know what you need to do that day. If you just do that one thing, if we all just did that one extra thing we needed to do, you can go a little bit, you can increase your lot a lot better that way. But I've seen it everywhere, but there's really no, I mean, you can softball people, kind of like they do on some of the mainstream media. If you softball them and you see where they are, and if they keep coming back for more, then you might find out, I just say, what's your interest? What's your interest? I mean, it's fine to have a different opinion, but the trolling, the trolling or the hater stuff. I mean, but the thing about it is, the rapper, I'm saying that you have I've had students that you cannot, when people are indoctrinated or they're completely demoralized, that's a huge feat. And I think that's a lot of what's going on. All right. Shout out to everybody that's in the stream. Thank you so much for coming in at this late hour on your Independence Day. And yeah, because that's, I mean, that Trump man, white man, bad kind of stuff, that's just more of the, that's 2016 on a replay. The same people, they have nothing else. They're on the same, they've got the same talking points. If I hear one more person say Charlottesville, one more, as if they've never heard of anybody having two opinions, protesting peacefully. You can have people that are pro, you can have people that are pro-abortion, and you can have people that are anti-abortion. And both of those people can be protesting at the same time, and they're not being violent towards each other. So for everybody that keeps on looping Charlottesville, you might help them out. Same talking points. And there's actually the footage of the the uncut, the unedited footage is out there somewhere. But they may not be beyond Charlottesville and whatever else they want to pull out, what other optics they want to pull out. But I mean, a lot of people have seen the real footage by now. A lot of people understand the logic of how you can have. And maybe he didn't say it well. Maybe he should have said we had peaceful people on both sides. Would that have made everybody feel better? We had peaceful protesters on both sides. I don't know. I didn't write the script, so he's certainly not a PC president. That's not, and he never said he was. So you didn't get it's not like you got a full bait and switch on PC. So shout out to Usak Chile. Is Usak Chile? Ah, c'est va, mon ami. Qu'est-ce que ça veut dire? Merci beaucoup. But thanks so much, everybody, for coming in for this segment. So there again, we've got Kanye. I'm going to follow that story up. So I just thought maybe if you hadn't seen the tweet, that came from Yee or Yay. Uh-oh, hang on just one second. What a crazy stream I've had here. You guys could hit that like bell or unlike bell on this stream. I really appreciate it. I apologize for all the technical struggles. Technical struggles are real. Oh, I'm doing well. Thank you so much. I'm doing well. Thanks so much, Usak Chile. Appreciate you for coming in. So yeah, we're going to probably wrap up this stream in a few minutes. Usak, let's see, we'll be done here. C'est fini dans 15 minutes, mon ami. Thank you so much for coming. Ah, Nacon, it's you. Who's that, Nacon? That's very deceptive of you. Thank you so much for coming in. I really appreciate that. Yeah. Je ne sais pas. Funny. but yeah, shout out to everybody that came in, and I'm sure we'll pick back up on the regular on our regular. We have Monday, Tuesday streams, of course, at 10 Pacific Standard Time, and I'll probably be adding another day into the streams, and the nighttime streams are good too. Nice. Thank you so much, Nacon Shop. Thank you for coming in. Yeah, so if we have nothing else. Thank you guys so much. And please continue to check out the community tab. Tomorrow, that community tab will actually close out. I'm going to close out the poll. The community tab poll will close out before probably around 10 Pacific Standard Time. So that means that's 1 o'clock on Eastern Standard Time in the AM. And then it's going to be 12 AM on the Central Standard Time. So if you haven't had a chance, I'd love to have love to see what the engagement is from you guys. I've gotten some responses already, which is good information, good engagement. But of course, I'd like to hear from those of you maybe who have not had a chance. So tomorrow at 10 o'clock, about 12 hours, 12 and a half hours from now, I will close out that poll. And thank you so much, everybody, for coming in. So we've pretty much covered everything. So you guys enjoy the rest of your holiday weekend, your Independence Day, and your July 4th weekend. And I look forward to seeing you again on the next live stream. I may do another one tomorrow night. I may. And it'll be a little bit more loose than this. It'll be more chill on the evening. The moonlighting streams is what moonlighting with Black Spring is what we do on that. So it's just more of a chill chat. Almost anything is free game. There's always something going on, protesting. So you guys stay vigilant, stay safe, or as one of my friends says, stay locked and loaded. And I'll look forward to seeing you guys again. So we're going to do this one, and I will see you guys on the next live stream.